is not a single bride who would ever want to be told that she looks like an American football player or a cleaning tool when she is shopping for her wedding dress. Nonetheless, this is exactly what happened to one unfortunate woman. Future bride or bride-to-be, during her appearance on the show Say Yes to the Dress Atlanta, Alicia Brock was left in tears as a result of the scathing criticism she received from her current friends and family. When Alicia's mother, Sandra, makes an attempt to rush through the appointment, she suggests gowns that Alicia does not particularly like, but is required to put on in order to satisfy her mother. This is the first instance in which Alicia experiences embarrassing situations. In a side comment, Alicia states, "She is aware of everything, and she wants it her way or there will be no way." Sandra's father, who was previously married to Sandra, is in agreement with this sentiment, stating that if it's not her way, she's going to throw conflict in it. One of the dresses that Alicia tries on for the first time is one that was chosen by her father beforehand. Both Alicia and her bridal consultant are pleased with the selection, with Alicia praising the dress as beautiful. However, with the exception of her father, her friends and family members do not completely agree with her portrayal of the circumstance. When asked for her opinion, Sandra responds, "It's not her." She goes on to explain, "I don't know what Alicia's dad is thinking. It was too much dress for Alicia's taste." In addition to making the situation even more difficult, one of Alicia's bridesmaids chuckles and exclaims, "She looks like a linebacker." Another acquaintance chimed up and said, "She truly does have the appearance of a linebacker." Lori, the proprietor of the dress business, and Monty, a fashion consultant, are both furious at this comment. Lori, in a side comment, asked, "Are you kidding me? Have you been unable to come up with any other word but linebacker? To say that is insulting." Monty goes on to say, "That's a foul, a penalty. Y'all know what I'm talking about." He goes on to say that it is not appropriate to compare a bride to a football player. While Alicia is making her way back to the fitting room, she is overcome with emotion as a result of these statements. The second dress that she tries on is one that was selected by her mother. Alicia explains that it is not the dress that she should wear, but because it was her mother's choice, she walks out to exhibit it to her friends and family. While Sandra is being shown the dress on her daughter, she comments, "Okay, maybe it looked better on the mannequin." She goes on to state that ball gowns are pretty on a lot of people, but she is not one of them. "You look like a walking doily," one of Alicia's pals says, adding to the criticism that has already been leveled against her. The same buddy continues by saying, "You look like a mop, a walking mop with a head." In response to the behavior of the bridal entourage, Lori says, "There's honest and there's mean, and mean might mean I show them the door." Lori is not too pleased with the behavior of the bridal entourage. The dress that Alicia tried on for the third time is the one that she adores the most, and fortunately, this time her friends and family feel the same way about it. In addition to the fact that her mother and father are in agreement that she looks stunning in the dress, Alicia also mentioned that it is the very first time in her life that she has ever felt attractive. The morning of my bridal dress shopping had arrived, and I was filled with a mix of anticipation and excitement. The search for the one had taken months, and I had carefully curated a list of boutiques to visit, dresses to try, and an idea of what I wanted in my head. I could almost feel the fabric between my fingers, see the delicate lace, the shimmer of satin, and of course envision myself walking down the aisle in the gown that would make me feel beautiful, confident, and elegant. I had envisioned my wedding day since I was a little girl, a soft, romantic celebration of love with a dress that would feel like a dream. I wasn't expecting to find it immediately, but I was hopeful. What I wasn't prepared for was the emotional roller coaster that lay ahead, one that would challenge my perception of beauty, self-worth, and what a wedding dress was supposed to represent. The dream dress. The first shop I visited was a charming boutique with chandeliers hanging from the ceiling and walls lined with exquisite gowns in every shape, size, and color. The air smelled of roses and vanilla, setting the tone for a fairy tale experience. As I walked through the doors, I was greeted by a friendly consultant named Emily, who quickly ushered me into a fitting room. "I think we should start with something classic," Emily said, pulling a gown from the rack. It was a mermaid-style dress, shimmering with delicate lace and beads. My heart skipped a beat. This was it. The fabric looked expensive and luxurious, the kind of dress you see in magazines, the one every bride dreams about. I knew I had to try it on. As I slid the dress on, the feeling of the fabric against my skin was nothing short of magical. The fit was perfect, hugging my curves in all the right places. I looked in the mirror and almost couldn't believe what I saw. I looked beautiful, no, stunning. It was everything I had imagined. I could almost hear the soft music playing in the background, the applause of my loved ones, the gasps of awe as I walked down the aisle. Emily stepped in with a huge smile. "This is perfect on you." "I think we found your dress," she said with conviction. And for a moment, I agreed with her. This was the one. But I still had more shops to visit. After all, what if there was something even more perfect out there? As much as I wanted to say yes and lock it down, I decided to keep my options open. I told Emily I would think about it and leave the shop with a promise to return. The critics. A few days later, I brought my mother and best friend, Kate, to another shop. I wanted their opinions before making the final decision. I trusted them, and if anyone could offer honest feedback, it was them. Kate, with her keen fashion sense, was the first to express her opinion. "This is nice, but I don't know. I'm not sure it's you," she said, her brow furrowing slightly. My mother, who had always been my biggest supporter, was less restrained. "It makes you look like a linebacker," she said bluntly. I blinked, shocked by her words. "What?" I exclaimed. "Mom, I stopped myself, trying to hold back the tears that were threatening to spill. "How can you say that? I thought this was perfect." My mother, realizing the weight of her words, softened. "I didn't mean it like that, honey. I just think it's too structured. It's very bold, but maybe a little too bold for you." Her voice trailed off, and she gave me a look that was half concern, half disappointment. I stood there, feeling my dreams unraveling. I had thought I looked beautiful, like I had finally found the dress that would make me feel like a queen. Instead, I felt deflated, questioning everything. Was I really that out of touch with my own sense of style? Was I so far gone in my fairy tale vision that I couldn't see the reality of what was happening? Kate offered a reassuring smile. "Let's not give up just yet. We've still got a few more places to check out." But her words did little to soothe the sting of my mother's comment. I felt like I had just been punched in the gut. The search continues. The next few weeks were a blur of bridal boutiques, fitting rooms, and unhelpful salespeople. Each dress seemed to fall short in some way. Either the style didn't suit me, or I didn't feel like the bride I imagined in my head. I tried on lace gowns, ball gowns, and Align dresses, but nothing seemed right. With every disappointment, my self-esteem took a hit. The dream dress I had once envisioned was slipping further and further from my grasp. I began to doubt my own judgment. Perhaps I wasn't the classic bride I had thought I was. Maybe I was too fat, too short, too something to wear the dresses I had imagined. The reality of wedding dress shopping felt like a cruel joke. I had spent so many years romanticizing this moment, and yet here I was, crying in a dressing room over something that was supposed to make me feel beautiful. It wasn't until a week later that I found myself in a modest little shop on the outskirts of town. I had heard about it from a friend of a friend, a place that prided itself on offering a more personalized experience. The dresses weren't as flashy as the ones in the big boutiques, but something about the shop felt warm and welcoming. The consultant, Lily, was a kind woman in her 50s who seemed genuinely invested in helping me find the perfect dress. I explained my struggles to her, how I had tried on dozens of dresses and still felt nothing. She nodded sympathetically. "Let's try something different," Lily said. "Sometimes we get so caught up in the idea of what we think a wedding dress should be that we forget what makes us feel good." She pulled a gown from the rack, a simple satin number with a slight Align silhouette, no frills or excessive embellishments. I was hesitant, but I trusted her judgment. When I slipped into the dress, I immediately felt a shift. The fabric was soft against my skin. The cut hugged my body in all the right ways without being overly tight or stiff. I twirled in front of the mirror, and for the first time in weeks, I smiled. This was it. This was my dress. It wasn't flashy. It wasn't extravagant, but it made me feel like the best version of myself. I didn't look like a linebacker or a mop. I looked like a bride. I walked out of the dressing room, tears welling up in my eyes. "I love it," I whispered, almost as if I couldn't believe it was real. Lily gave me a knowing smile. "It's perfect on you." The big day. When the wedding day finally arrived, I slipped into that satin dress and looked at myself in the mirror. I didn't see a linebacker or a mop. I saw a woman who had struggled to find the right dress, yes, but who had ultimately found a gown that was exactly what she needed. It wasn't about the opinions of others or the expectations I had placed on myself. It was about feeling comfortable in my own skin, in the dress that made me feel like a bride. As I walked down the aisle, I saw the look on my fiance's face, his eyes filled with love and admiration. In that moment, I realized that the dress didn't matter as much as the love I felt, the people who were there to support me, and the life I was about to begin with the man I love. I may not have worn the dress I imagined when I was a little girl, but I wore the dress that was right for me. It wasn't perfect, but it was perfect for my journey, one filled with doubts, laughter, and moments of self-discovery. And in the end, that was all that mattered.